Today I'm excited to welcome Cynthia Garcia. Cynthia is a clinical nutritionist, entrepreneur, and the founder of Rewritten Beauty. She's also the founder of the Institute of Transformational Nutrition and has dedicated her career to helping people transform their health, confidence, and the way they age through nutrition, skincare, and lifestyle. Beyond her professional credentials, Cynthia has built a loyal following on YouTube and social media by being unapologetically herself. She is refreshingly honest, wonderfully funny, and never afraid to say exactly what's on her mind, sometimes using a few four-letter words to drive the point home. It is that authenticity, combined with Cynthia's deep knowledge of nutrition, skincare, and healthy aging, that has made her a trusted voice to so many people. Without further ado, let's talk to Cynthia. Cynthia, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I connected with you and what you're doing immediately. Like as soon as I saw you, I was like, who is this woman? So yeah, I just feel so honored to be sitting down with you today.
Likewise, I came across your YouTube channel and I must have binge watched all your videos within a couple of days. I just fell in love with you because you're just so, I said that in the intro too, you're so unapologetically yourself and it's so refreshing.
And we can get into this if you want. For so long I wasn't, I was very much tried to be a good girl, try to do the things, say the things, be the person. I feel like women can fall into that, and I won't speak for all women because all women certainly do not do this, but I was a people pleaser for a really long time. And so it was a process of awakening, I guess you could say, for me, to just really be true to who I am and not compromise that for anyone. And I'll tell you, Claudia, once I stepped into that, there was just no going back. It was just so liberating. Yeah. So I was just like, well, this is me. Take it or leave it. But I refuse to compromise who I am for anyone else's comfort. So yeah.
I think that's one of the nice parts of aging, that we get more comfortable with ourselves and we don't apologize anymore for who we are.
Yeah, it's like I often say like my fucks started running out right around 40. I just didn't have that many left to give. And so now when I use them, it's very special and meaningful. But yeah, and I also think that I know for me, as I started getting older, it's you realize like how precious life is and how limited it is. So am I really going to live the life that I have for other people? Because this is not a dress rehearsal. Like, this is it. There's no redo. Like, we get so much and then it's gone. So I just believe in living fully and true to yourself and letting people think what they are going to think. And people are going to think what they're going to think anyway. And I'm also, it's not even about me. I've realized that just being on YouTube for the last, I don't know, few months. Um, People say the craziest shit. And I was just, at first, I was like, what is going on? Like, I have walked into the island of misfit toys. Like, what is happening? And it's not even about me. The more I realized and read and connected with people, I was like, I'm not even in this conversation. So yeah, it's all good.
Well, we jumped right in, but I wanted to actually start at the beginning because YouTube is something you do now, but you've built such a amazing career around helping people rethink health, nutrition, healthy aging, all of those things. But I want to go kind of to the beginning. What is your journey? What was your story? What inspired you to do what you're doing or did for so long?
It's a great question. And well, I did not start here, believe it or not. I started as far away from the life I have now that you could probably get. So I grew up in an area called like the Appalachian Mountains. And so I was like in the tip of Southwest Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. Um, Beautiful area, not a lot of opportunity. We were super poor. Like I remember our rent was $25 a month on the little house that we rented. My mom didn't work. My dad had been disabled in a car accident many years earlier. And so we got some Social Security money, but that was it. I mean, I can remember like we didn't have running water in our house. We would take a bath in the creek, and there was luckily a river ran by our house, so that was handy. But we had an outhouse. We did all the things. Sometimes we'd go to bed early because we didn't have food to eat, and we didn't, want to stay up and be hungry, so we'd go to bed early. So that was my upbringing, and there was a lot of drug abuse, alcohol abuse in my home, lots of physical abuse. I was sexually abused starting at the age of 5 by, a distant family member. So, yeah, it was tough. It was not, certainly not the life that I live now, but I always knew that I wanted a better life. I always knew that this would not be my life. And the one thing that we did have, Claudia, was books. And I'd get books from school, the school library, and I'd bring them home and I would just devour them. Like that was my escape. And I started writing what my future would be. I just decided, and I would learn about culture that way. And I would learn about, girls getting ready to go out for the evening with their boyfriends or their girlfriends. And that was the only exposure to those kinds of things I had. But it was enough. And then, as soon as I was able, I started working at like 14, just making some extra money. I did all kinds of odd jobs as a teenager, still going to high school. And then, as soon as I could in my 20s, I left that area and moved to Los Angeles, where it just got bumpier from there, but that's okay. But that's where I am today, and just living a great life. But we can talk about that if you want, and just kind of where the health piece came into play. It's
Yeah.
kind of a long drawn out story. So I'm trying to, like, how do you shorten 48 years into, it's like,
Take your time. I think I've heard the story before, but I think it's such a fascinating story and it's so inspiring. So share however much you want to share.
well, so I came to LA, big dreams as one does, right? I I didn't have much of anything. I had saved money that I had made. I'd worked in a call center back in East Tennessee, and I'd saved my money and I moved out because I was going to do modeling. So back when I lived in East Tennessee, I was always looking at the newspaper ads because that's how old I am. It was like 1942. I don't know. No, not really. But I would look at like the ads, and one day there was like calendar models wanted, and I was like, maybe I could do that. It was like $100. So I go, takes my pictures, says you'll be Miss January, whatever. And then he said, if you want, I have more jobs for you. And I was like, great. So I started just doing little things in this tiny little town. I'd make 50 bucks here, 100 bucks here, just little things. So when I moved to LA, I thought, well, I don't have a trust fund. I don't have connections, but I've got a face, so I'll use that. And so I started out modeling, um, and really quickly got caught up in the crazy LA lifestyle and hit rock bottom. I got really, really sick because I was trying to find jobs and just pounding the pavement all day. And at night, I felt like such an imposter, Claudia. So I just felt so out of sorts. Like if these people knew where I really came from, like they would kick me out of this party immediately. Like they would be like, whoa, you gotta go. And I was terrified of that happening. And so I started using drugs. I started drinking. I would just party all the time. Lots of childhood trauma too that I was trying to process. And so I got really sick. Couldn't work because I was exhausted. I was about 25 pounds overweight. Had horrible cystic acne on my face and neck, and just those hard nodules or nodes. Um, and I just essentially hit rock bottom. I went to every doctor, got diagnosed with things like chronic fatigue syndrome, lots of antidepressants because they didn't know what was wrong with me. Got up one morning and found lumps in both of my breasts, and that was my breaking point. I just thought, I can't go on. I'd spent the money I had trying to feel better. No one could help me. I'd given it a good shot, and I was just done. I was ready to go. And I thought, they can't say I didn't try because, I bought all the things, the supplements and the things that the doctor said and what have you. But I just can't do this anymore. And so I was just in a daze for hours. And I just remember staring at the wall, and I was sitting on the floor eventually about 3 in the morning with my little uh, can of Diet Dr. Pepper because I didn't know anything. and a handful of pills that I'd been prescribed. And I thought, I'm done. This is it. But the more I sat there, Claudia, I started like reflecting back over my life, as one does, I guess. And I just thought, why? Like, why was I born into this crazy life? Why has it been so hard? Why is it just constant struggle? And then I started to get angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at myself for getting myself in this place. I was angry at people I'd gone to for help who didn't help me. Like, it was just a lot of anger. And in that moment, I thought, you know what? I can't go out like this. Like, I'm a survivor, I'm a fighter. And this voice inside of me, I don't know. And now I thought, okay, great, I'm talking to myself, I'm hearing voices. But it said, these things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. You're meant to do something. And that's all I got. And I was like, now, listen, I grew up with people telling me, even my own family, being like, you're hopeless, you're worthless. I got called trash all the time. So for me to think I could do something was just crazy. But when you reach that point, you think, I'll hold on to anything. And that's what I did. And so I'm very type A, just take control of things, make shit happen. And so I thought I'll figure this out by myself. And long story short, that's what I did. I started studying everything I could get my hands on about nutrition because I didn't know a protein from a carb because I had never needed to before. I didn't know what I was doing. Started researching supplements. Enrolled in a clinical nutrition program, put it on 3 credit cards because I didn't have enough of a limit left on one of them, and just started studying. And several years gone by, I'd been working with clients, got a bunch of celebrity clients, wrote some best-selling books, created a whole brand new form of nutrition because I realized it wasn't just about the food, it was about the mental and the spiritual aspects as well. So I combined that all into this beautiful method of nutrition. And then when it got too big for me to help others, I launched a school to certify other people in this method of nutrition, called the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. We're fully licensed state school now and have educated over 34,000 people, and certified all kinds of health practitioners all over the globe to go out and help people. So that was my health journey and health story. And then we can get into the beauty one if you want. But yeah, it's been a long road. I feel like I lived a lot of life.
So how did you go from that to what you do now, which is empowering women to, as you like to call it, hottest fuck at any age?
Yeah, I know. I do have a mouth on me. We should warn everyone. Yeah, that's a great question. So, I've been doing health and been in that world now for 20 years. And it's been amazing. But on my 40th birthday, Claudia, I don't know what I expected on my 40th birthday, to be quite honest with you. I think I just thought I was a little like, shit, 40? Like, I don't want to be 40. Like 40. Ugh. But then I was also like trying to be positive, and I was like, no, this is a brand new, this is powerful. I see women at 40 and 50 and 60, and they're badass. It's going to be great. And then I started getting the text messages, and they were crazy. Like this one woman, she texted me and she said, um, enjoy being invisible. And then somebody said, it's all downhill from here. And I was like, wait, what? Are these birthday wishes or eulogies? Like, I'm so confused. I thought we were friends. And I remember I responded to one woman and I said, oh, that's not going to happen to me. And you know what she said to me? She said, that's what we all said.
Hmm.
And I was like, what? That we just accept that we're going to disappear now that we're 40? Like, we're not 140. And again, necessity is, what is that saying? Necessity is the mother of invention or something like that. I was like, no, fuck this. Like, we are not going to think this way. We are not going to feel this way. Like, the most amazing women I know at this age are just getting started. And so I thought, let's create a product that not only rewrites the signs of aging on a woman's face, but rewrites the stories that we're told about aging and what it means to look and feel what I call hot as fuck at any age. And so that was, gosh, 8 years ago now. So we spent yeah, 7.5 years in research and development, and just launched the product last September called Rewritten, is the name of the brand. And the name of our first serum product, which is an all-in-one serum, is called Show the Face Up, as a refusal to disappear. Like, we're not going anywhere. We are going to show the face up.
I have been using Rewritten for the last couple of weeks, and it's supposed to address senescent cells.
Yeah.
So it's a senolytic. Um, Obviously, I can't tell you whether it's actually doing that or not without having a visual scan or something, but what I can tell you is I love the way it feels, and I love the way it lights my face up. It literally does. It just makes you glow.
It does. Yeah, it's interesting. We've had a lot of makeup artists tell us that they're using it as a primer, which I didn't design it for that. That was not the point. But to your point, when you rub it in, you let it sink in. If you just pat a little extra on, it gives you that glow, and then your makeup stays put too. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So I've been using it for that reason lately, but I'm so glad you like it.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
So when you got that comment or several of these comments on your 40th birthday, was the goal to prove these people wrong, or did you
Yeah.
realize that you had to prove yourself something as well?
It was probably a little bit of both, and I think it still is, to be honest. I really enjoy proving people wrong. I think that comes from childhood and being told like you'll never amount to anything. I used to have family members who would make fun of me because I would read all the time. They would say things like, "Oh, you think you're going to be so smart? You think you're going to be a big shot one day?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of want a better life. Like, is that a like it was a bad thing?" And they were like, "Oh, you're crazy. You're going to be right here with the rest of us." Those kinds of things. And I thought, "No, I won't." No. So I think that started at a really young age. I mean, the name of my company is my personal brand company is called Defying Gravity. Like, I've never been one to just accept the status quo. Not in health when they said it's food is medicine and that's it. Like, not in any part of life. I just think that we should challenge things that we don't agree with. And if we can change them, not just for ourselves, but for others, then I feel the responsibility to do that.
Since that 40th birthday, how has your journey changed? I know you talk a lot about forget aging gracefully, which
Mhm.
until I heard you say that before, I never thought about it. I always, to me, aging gracefully was sort of like however I decide to want to age. But really, I'm not sure if that's it really it, or if it really, if we as a society think aging gracefully is supposed to mean just accept and let stuff happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're vain or you're trying too hard or those sort of things. So since I have been listening to you, I have kind of changed my outlook on that because
Interesting.
I also, like you say you love getting older, but you hate aging. And
Yeah.
people say that so rarely because it seems like the two can't coexist. But two things can be true at once. I also
Sure.
love that I get to spend more time on this planet, and I love the comfort that comes with aging, like we talked about in the beginning. But
Yeah.
aging honestly sucks. I mean, nobody says I want to get arthritis and I want to, slow down and all of these things.
Yeah.
So, how has your since that birthday? How has your journey changed, and what is it that you are really focusing on to stay hard as F? Which we think of just being an external thing, right? But it is
Not.
the whole package. It's internal as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have lots of thoughts about this. Um, First of all, I am vain, 100%. I don't think that's a negative thing. Um, I think that people have chosen to make it a negative as, I I think for lots of reasons, but as a way to make women feel like self-care or caring about their appearance is a negative thing. And I think that there's been a lot of ways that women have been disempowered over centuries now. And I think that this is just another way that people are choosing to do that or have chosen to do that over the years. It's like if we do choose to take care of ourselves and try to stay healthy and look our best and feel our best and stay active, we're called vain, as if it's shameful in doing that. And I just can't get behind that narrative. Again, I'm rewriting that narrative. I just think it's bullshit. And I think when it comes to aging gracefully or aging at all, I think we all get to choose. I am not willing to go gently into that good night. If I can nip it, suck it, or tuck it, I'm going to. Like I have every intention of doing whatever I can as long as I can. And some people aren't. Some women choose not to do that. Like a woman on my Instagram comments a few weeks ago, she said, we don't have anything at all in common. I love gua sha and castor oil. Like I'm that kind of girl. I'm like needles and lasers. She said, we don't even have any shared values, but I love and respect what you're doing for yourself. And I was like, yes, because here's the thing, we all get to choose what that path of getting older looks like, and we're all 100% correct. All of us. No one is wrong. Not the women aging gracefully with castor oil, not the ones like I had one woman who said, I was objectified for years, and I am so tired of that. Like, I don't want to keep my looks going. I want peace. I want men to leave me alone. I want to be invisible. I just want to live my life. And she's 100% correct for her. Like, that's the point. We all get to choose. But yeah, this idea that aging is great, like, fucking what? No, it's not. There's nothing. What? Like, sure, as many years as you can get, absolutely. It is a blessing, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, but aging is fucking awful. I mean, why would we? Come on, tell the truth, Like it's terrible.
No, I agree, and I feel like it's we get shamed if we say that aging is awful because we're just supposed to accept it and be grateful, but we can be
Yeah,
grateful, like you said, for getting older, but not the
yeah,
aging part.
yeah. 100%. I think it's just, this old narrative. Somebody said to me the other day, well, the opposite of getting older is dying. And I was like, no, it's not. The opposite of getting older is getting younger. Like, I don't understand. We just have all of these narratives that no one ever stops to think about what they're saying because it's just conditioning. But words have power. And if we continue to use the same words and tell the same narratives without ever once questioning it, then we lose our individualism, we lose our power, we lose our power of choice. And why would we do that?
Yeah.
I don't
Interestingly, you said earlier that women have been sort of put down for a long time, right? But I
know.
feel like often who's doing the putting down is other women.
Oh
Sadly,
my,
in my comments, the guys are the most lovely. If I say
really?
something, for example, oh, my neck looks horrible, it will be over the
Yeah.
guy saying, what are you talking about? Your neck looks wonderful. And the women are the ones suggesting facelifts and this and that. And. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that we as women do this to each other instead of good for you that you
Yeah.
do all these things. And even if I, like this woman on your Instagram said, even though I don't want to do it,
Yeah.
I applaud you for doing it. I wish more women were like that. I think it's the unhappiness with ourselves that keeps us doing that to other women.
I
So,
couldn't agree more, truly. I mean, and this is what I was saying earlier. Like, Dr. Maya Angelou used to say, baby, you ain't even in it. You ain't even in it. And I think that's true. We're not even in the stories. Like their stories, their comments, they have nothing to do with me. And I know that. And it makes me it makes me sad, Claudia, that women feel this way and women feel like they have to tear down other women to feel better about themselves. I've never been that way. I'm very much a girl's girl. If you look good, I'll tell you. Like I go up to random people in the grocery store and I'm like, this color brings out your eyes. You should wear it every single day. Just like, because then I'm being honest. Like I'm always just like, how can we prop up women? Women are so important. We have such important roles in this society, in this world. And to tear each other down is just the craziest thing in the world to me. Like I don't get it. And I've raised my daughter this way. Like she loves women, she respects women, she thinks women are, we don't tear the women down. We don't ever comment on someone's, but we don't do that, right? I remember one time I took her to in Los Angeles, we have the Griffith Observatory, right? It sits up on this big hill, you know it. And we were leaving, and there was a woman sitting there, and she had her guitar case open for tips, and she was playing the guitar. And I didn't even notice her at first, but my daughter Rain did. And she said, Mommy, can I have some money? And I was like, sure. Like, she just doesn't usually do that, but okay, sure. And I was like, sure, why? And she said, I want to give it to that lady, Mommy, because we support ladies. And I was like, oh, it's like a proud moment. I was like, yeah, take all the money. Like, take all of my money and give it to the lady. It was just so sweet and just like, yes, can we just do that for each other? Can we just realize we're not threats? Like we're in this together? I don't know. Like,
That's one thing that made me fall in love with you right away because I noticed that what a champion of women you are. Because
mm,
being on YouTube now, I get silly comments. I have learned to laugh about the comments when they're about myself, but if I have a guest on like you that is just kicking ass, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's successful, you're gonna be a threat to so many women, and then the ugly comments come in. And it makes me angry and sad because first of all, you've taken the time out of your life to share your story and to help other people.
yeah,
But how must a woman who does that feel about herself? That's the part that makes me sad, that she has to do that to make herself feel better. So if we all
yeah.
were like Rain, think about the world would be a beautiful place if we women would just support each other and champion each other.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Something.
And I mean, look, I don't know. I really want to, I try to turn those comments around. I don't know about you. Some people are just, that's the hill they're going to die on. But someone who said on my comment, she said, if you look so good and you're aging backwards, why do you wear so much makeup? And I was like, what? I don't know if those two have to do, but okay, cool. So I just said to her, I don't think your comment is about the makeup. I don't think it has anything to do with makeup, does it? And to her credit, she said, it doesn't. I saw you and I immediately didn't like you. And I just see like what you're saying, and I know I could never do it. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. And you're right. It's not about the makeup. It's just you're intimidating to me. And
Yeah.
it just, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because it just, yeah, it just made me sad. Yeah. So anyways, I gave her lots of stuff. I was like, most of what I do, the biggest results come from the free things I do. The sleep, drinking water, moving my body, like truly those have made some of the biggest differences. But anyways, yeah, it's interesting.
What does it mean to you to age the way you want to age? What does that look like for you? Like, what do you picture yourself? I'm almost 10 years older than you. I'm 57. So where do you picture yourself at my age and 10 years after that? When you have that vision, what does that look like?
Like I do now. Why would I change? Yeah, I mean, listen, I intend to do whatever it takes to look as good as I can, but more importantly, to feel as good as I can. Like what I've noticed that's different than 20s when I was a dummy and 30s when I thought I knew something and really didn't. And now I'm knocking on 50s door is that I really want to feel good. I want to feel strong. I want to feel vital. I want to have the energy. Like, sure, I'm vain and I want the outside to look good, but I also want to, like, I weight train, I eat healthy, I do peptides, and, that's a whole other thing we can get into or not. My hormones are dialed in. I do hormone replacement therapy. It's very like I don't eat fast food. I don't drink, so I don't do any of those things. It's just very important for me to feel good as long as I can. To me, that's a huge part of what I call being hot as fuck. It's the attitude, it's the confidence. It's not giving a tiny little mouse fuck what anyone else thinks. It's about pursuing my passions. Like I love art and I love to go to galleries and I make art and I love to make things beautiful. I love to read. I love filmmaking. And so it's all of those things. It essentially means freedom, liberation, and the power of getting to be me in this one wild and crazy life.
And by doing so, I've noticed through your channel and through your other platforms, you basically, and that sounds silly, but you basically given other people, other women, permission to do the same,
I
because
hope.
they see you
Yeah.
being unapologetically yourself and taking care of yourself. Because, like you said earlier, sometimes there is this stigma around taking care of yourself, and it's like, where do you draw the line? Should we not eat healthy? Should we not? Where do you draw the line of taking care of yourself, and why is that a bad thing?
I hope so. And I kind of wish somebody had given me that permission, because like I said early when we first started, I was very much a people pleaser. I cared very deeply what people thought. I would go out of my way to make you happy at my own detriment. That's the way I found value in myself because I didn't value who I was, in my mind, my identity, I was just this broke little girl from the Appalachian Mountains who went to school in hand-me-down clothes that were usually two sizes too small and most of the time dirty because we didn't have like washing machine. We didn't have like water in the house. I very much identified as her. I was teased, I was bullied, I was told I was, again, white trash, I was told I was ugly. I believed that. And so, however, I could find worthiness, I
Mhm.
would take it, right? I just wanted to feel loved and worthy. So, doing for others, like putting myself last, that's where I got that from. And obviously, that's changed over the years, and it wasn't overnight. It was a very gradual process of self-discovery and self-awareness and working through a lot of the past trauma that I had dealt with. But I think that self-worth is really at the root of this bigger conversation of whether you do the things, you don't do the things, how you choose to age. I believe that some women truly don't feel like they're worth it. They're not worth the time. They're not worth the energy. They're not worth the money. Like it's just they're doing for others, and that's where they get their value from. Does that make sense? Like I don't know how you feel about that. We've never talked about it, but it's just a pattern that I'm starting to see and things I'm picking up in comments and the things that people are saying to me.
Yeah, I see it a lot too from women. And then I think
Yeah.
pile on top of that our age, right? Now hormones are saying
Yeah.
goodbye. And so now you don't even have the energy to take care of yourself, even if you wanted to, and if you thought you would be worthwhile, because you just have nothing left. So I think there is a lot of us at that age do disappear because of these reasons. There is that not thinking we're worth it, and then again the hormones on top of it and everything else, and we
Yeah.
just slowly run out of steam.
Of course. I mean, and that's natural. That's what we do as women. It's what we do as humans. It's one of the reasons that on my channel I talk so much about hormones and really balancing your hormones and replacing what you've lost. Like you don't have to suffer. You don't have to feel no energy. You don't have to just feel like someone turned the saturation down on your life, like you're living in black and white. You don't have to give up a great sex life or your desire for the good things that you enjoy. Like there are options for that. And so I try to educate women a lot on what those are because, I didn't know about them either until I started going through it myself. And I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And then was gaslit by doctors for years. And one doctor laughed at me. I talked about that in one of my videos, but getting what I needed, no more, just putting back what I had lost, it just everything changed for me. So there are solutions, and I've seen it again in my own body. I've seen it in family and friends, and I just feel so strongly about these things. Like it doesn't have to be this way.
I do as well. That's why I also felt so connected to you, because that's a big one for me, hormones. We're not meant to live this long. Even you're 10 years younger. A couple hundred years ago, we wouldn't be talking anymore. We'd be gone.
No, we'd be dead and buried a long time ago.
Our
Yeah.
biology hasn't caught up to us living this long. And why would you want to live maybe another half of your life without something your body so desperately needs?
Yeah, it's when it's not necessary,
Mm.
I mean, it's just not. But the thing is, I just don't think we've been told. I don't think anyone has explained this phase and stage. I mean, nobody explained it to me, I don't know anyone that set somebody down and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Here's how you're going to feel. Like I remember when my mom went through it, it was just the change, just the change and hot and irritable and all the things. But for example, I did a video on my channel on testosterone. When I asked my doctor about this, he laughed at me and he said, what do you want to go lift weights or something? And I was like, what? I felt so stupid, Claudia. I was like, did I get this all wrong? Because I had studied, I had tried to, I'm a big nerd and I was trying to research. So I went in prepared and I thought, what? And I suffered for 2 more years before I finally got. And what people don't realize is that testosterone is the most abundant sex hormone in a woman's body. We run on it, like we thrive on it. And when it's low, everything else goes sideways. But again, these are just, it's a lack of education. We just don't get this
I'm
information.
not sure why that is, but I'm glad that you're raising the awareness, that you made a video just on testosterone, because as you said, it is the most abundant hormone in a female body. And it's not something to be laughed at because it is important for your sex drive, for muscles, and for so many other things.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as we get older, I mean, dying of a broken hip, like that is real.
Yeah,
And all of these things can be traced back to a lack of hormones, especially testosterone. We need strength as we grow older. And we're not having it. And also, I don't think, we realize the importance of strength training. We think about, oh, I don't want to bulk up. I don't want to be like jacked and it's not going to happen. Like it's physically impossible unless, you just have some crazy genetic makeup or unless you're doing it intentionally. You're bodybuilding and you're using the things that get you to that size. It's not going to happen. What you don't want is to be frail and one fall takes you out.
I think the fear of becoming osteopenic is much greater, or should be much greater than the fear of bulking up, because you and I have been lifting for many, many, many years, and this
Yeah.
is much bulkier.
Right. I know. And lifting heavy too, and like meaning that shit when I do it. And still, yeah, it doesn't. I've never woken up one morning able to bench press my husband. Like it never happened. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Don't worry about that.
Talking about your husband, how does he feel about all the things you do? I think my husband, it took him, my husband is 14 years younger than I am, so it took him a
Yes,
little
Claudia.
catching up, I think. And I heard you talk about this too, when you first went on hormones, that you were a bit ashamed and you didn't tell your husband because you thought he's going to think you're old. I felt the same way. I met my husband, he was 28, I was 42, and I was already on hormones. And I thought this guy must think he's dating an old woman. So I just didn't say anything for a long time till we had a combined account, and then I had to tell him.
Yes.
But
That
the
is
funny
so
thing is
funny.
now he tells every woman in sight, you should talk to my wife about hormone replacement because he
Oh,
has
wow.
seen the benefits of it. So I
Yeah.
wonder how your husband feels about all of it, the hormones, everything you do.
Yeah, it's a great question. So my husband is 6 years younger than I am. And yeah, I mean, he doesn't mind. His biggest fear is he just doesn't want me to look different. He doesn't want me to get caught up in like facial surgeries. It's going to make me look like a different person or, whatever. And in the beginning, he didn't know anything. So I would say, I'm going to get Botox. And he would say, do you have to? Because he didn't know what Botox did. He thought I was going to like go rearrange my face or something. And then lasers. And he'd be like, is that gonna change you? And I'm like, no, it's just going to make me look like me for longer. Like that's the whole game that I'm running here. I haven't done a facelift or anything like that. I will in the next few years for sure, as soon as it's time. But he's super supportive. He just with the hormones thing, I didn't realize how not telling him made it harder because he saw me going through things and he didn't know why. He thought it was him. He thought it was our marriage. He thought something else was going on that I just wasn't talking to him about because it was. And now that he understands and knows, and it's funny because he edits my YouTube videos. So he watches all of it over. So it's been really interesting to share things kind of like by proxy. Anyways, but yeah, he loves it. And he loves that he knows how to better support me now and that he can find a reason for the things that are happening, or the things that I'm going through. So it's really brought us closer. in a lot of ways, you know? I think sometimes though, he's a little too quick to be like, oh, is it your hormones? Not everything, it's not everything. It's just something. So, but he tries. Yeah.
You just mentioned so many things, Botox, laser, all of that. And I know
I
that
know.
you and I mean, we could have this conversation for 10 hours, but you and I are going to have another conversation where we are going to talk about the things we have done, both of us, that in the hopes to stay hot as F, and that actually worked, and then some things that backfired.
Uh,
So we are going to have this conversation, but I thought it might be fun to end this conversation, even though I don't want to end it. I would like to talk to you all night, but to end this
Same.
conversation with sort of some rapid fire questions, if you're up for it.
Yeah, let's do it. Fun.
Let's do an easy one first. Tea or coffee?
Oh, coffee.
Coffee. Okay. Laser or microneedling?
Oh, laser.
What's the hill you die on when it comes to health and beauty?
Looking and feeling hot as fuck as long as you want, as long as you can.
What's the one skincare product you can't be without?
Rewritten, show the face up.
Sunscreen or moisturizer if you had to choose?
Oh, sunscreen. That's a hill I'll die on. Yeah.
Me too. Desert Island supplement.
Desert Island supplement. I am going to go with a vitamin D K2.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought it
Yeah.
was with an NMN or something.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, it's close, NMN or NAD, yeah. But vitamin D, it's a regulator of hormones. And me being on a desert island with the sun, I want that interacting on my skin with the vitamin D. And so, yeah, there you go.
Really thinking this through.
I'm a science nerd. That's what I say. Like, I dig so deep in these studies that, yeah,
What wellness or beauty trend do you wish would just disappear?
threads.
Which one? Thread?
Threads. I wish threads would disappear. Yeah, yeah, that. Yeah, there's some other heat radio frequency treatments I
Mhm.
think are very scary. It's not that I wish they would disappear. I just wish people, including the providers, were more educated on using them. I think they can be a blessing and a curse.
Both you and I have had bad experiences with radiofrequency microneedling, and we'll talk about that more, I'm sure, in our other video. But have you had bad experiences with threads? I've never tried them.
I've never done them. I've seen so many friends and relatives who've done them though, and it's just at best a waste of money.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, and we've come a long way with threads for sure. But it's still, yeah, not something I would do for sure.
I remember about 15 years ago when I just met my husband, I went to this doctor, and the front desk help had what back then were the first threads, and they were metal. They were like barbed wire, and they would put basically this barbed wire on her face and then pull it up. And she's sitting there, could barely move her face. She says, "You should really try this." I was like, "No, thank you." And a few weeks later, one of the wires broke, and her face was all crooked. So, like you said, we've come a long way with it, but
Yeah, it's still not there. Same thing with filler. I actually really like filler, which I know it might sound a little controversial, but I really like it. I just don't like too much of it. I think you just have to use it so sparingly. And I think the placement and the provider is everything. But I think a little tiny bit placed in just the right areas can be hugely transformative.
that was one of my questions: fillers or biostimulators?
Ah, gosh. Oh, this is a hard one. So I'll tell you, I really love them both. If I had to choose, I would do biostimulators.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have good results with Sculptra, right?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
stopped it for a while because I am going to get a facelift. And I talked to a lot of surgeons. I mean, this is just kind of what I do, but a lot of them said, it creates scar tissue, obviously, and it's hard to work around. But then, and so I thought, okay, let me stop this. I don't want to mess this up. And since then, I've spent a lot of time with a lot of surgeons and had many, many conversations. Some say, it's not ideal. And some say it's fine. We can work around it. Any good surgeon can work around it. And the injector really matters too, to not have crazy scar tissue from the way they inject. And so now that I am more educated, I've gone back to it and really, really like it. Sculptra, Radius, they're just fantastic.
What wellness trend do you think is actually worth sticking around?
Oh,
Wellness,
wellness,
beauty trend.
beauty trend or wellness trend. Gosh, this is a good one. I mean, for me, this is gonna sound like sleep. I
Mhm.
know. But you know, it's so true though. I'm telling you, it's the biggest differentiator I've seen for me. And you know, Brian Johnson, who's this major biohacker, yeah, his thing too. I mean, he spent lots of money, all the millions, on studying everything. I mean, from penis size to you name it. And he says the number one thing that's made more of a difference than anything else is sleep. And over the last, before like last decade, it was just like grind and work, and it was like a badge of honor if you slept 4 hours a night. And over the last little bit, that's really shifted. It's become a trend to come home and, have your red light mask and turn the lights down and read and whatever, like do this whole bedtime routine. Like sleep has become sexy again. And so I hope we don't lose that because it's so critically important.
I hope so too. I just had this conversation with my husband. We got an Oura ring to track his sleep. And his
Nice.
quality is good, but it's the quantity that's not. And I said, baby, you just, you have to go to bed a little earlier. And he said, well, I also want to live my life. And I said, I get that, but when you actually rested, you get to live your life. When you have this
Right.
energy and you don't just sit around and you need coffee and you're dragging ass, that's when you get to live your life. So it's worth it to compromise a little bit and go to bed half an hour earlier.
I mean, especially too, if it's super important for men, but also women as we age, I mean, your body heals when
Yeah,
it sleeps. That's the whole point. I mean, flushing out and the brain cleansing that happens to help prevent things like dementia and Alzheimer's. Like we know all of this is happening when you sleep, but if you're not sleeping in the right cycles and stages and the right length of time, that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I hope that trend sticks around forever.
I hope so too. And you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier when you were younger, you read a lot of books. What is one book that you would say changed your life?
I would say the book that changed my life truly, there's two. One is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. She was just such an amazing woman. I found this when I'd really hit rock bottom and was just struggling, trying to figure it out. And she was the first person who helped me understand it wasn't just physical, that your thoughts have real impacts and your spiritual life has real impacts on your physical well-being. And so that was huge for me. And the other book that I found was by Ram Dass. Again, going into that more spiritual side of things. And it was his book, Journey of Awakening,
Mhm.
that was awakening, and he talked about how he was this professor at Harvard and how, he went to India and found his guru, and it was this whole beautiful, it just opened my eyes, I think, at that point where I was just really struggling to hold on and find meaning and purpose in anything. Those two books really gave me perspective and gave me hope, to be
Mhm.
honest with you, and really kept me going.
I haven't read the second one, but I am familiar with Louise Hay and I've read a lot of her material, and it is quite life-changing, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, nobody ever told me that. I'm like, wait, what?
Mhm.
You can heal your own, you can have power over yourself. Yeah, it was hugely transformative for me. I still have the original copy that I bought like
Amazing.
22, 23 years ago. Yeah, it's crazy.
I could talk to you forever. I know you probably have things to do and places to go, but
A few
I'm
things.
really looking forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, it'll be
Now,
fun.
somebody finishing watching this video, what would you like them to take away?
That's a really great question. I think, when I make content or I do these interviews, I try to let people find the thing that just naturally hits them without choosing what it is for them. Like, I like to trust that something we've said today, maybe not the same thing for every woman, but
Mhm.
something that we said, each woman has been like, oh, that's really interesting. Or, oh, this is possible. So I trust the work to do the work. I really do. But the other thing I'll say, and the other thing I'll say, is I hope that what women take away is that you get to choose. You get to choose in this one wild and powerful and crazy life how to live it. And you can choose to live it with castor oil and gua sha, or choosing intentionally to become invisible because you just want that peace and quiet, or that you can choose to not go gently into that good night and that it's all okay, and that you can change your mind at
Mhm.
any given moment about any or all of it because you can, just because you can. And the last thing would be, regardless of all of those things, you're worthy just as you are. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to look a certain way to feel it. You were born worthy. You're worthy because you are. You matter. You're worthy.
I like that. Because I think that's where so much of our struggle stems from is that feeling of not enoughness and realizing that we've always been that way. That's quite powerful.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that's the saddest part is that we've always been this way. We just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably still carry that little girl around in you too that took a bath in the stream, and you have to remind her that, hey, you are
Yeah.
lovable, you are worth it. We all have that part that we just have to take aside sometimes and say, hey, you've always been and you still are. And
It's true. Yeah. I take her out of my pocket and sit her down here and just talk to her. It's literally every day though. Every day. I mean, listen, we live in a crazy world. We put ourselves out on the interwebs for everybody to have an opinion. It's every day that I remind myself who I am. It's really important that we remember who we are. So, yeah.
that is not up for vote. I like that. You get to decide and nobody else.
Yeah, yeah. Some guy commented on my channel and said, "You're not that hot." And I was like, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." So, it's a state of mind. It's like art. It's relative, right? Like whether I am or not. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's an attitude. And I was like, "Yes, I am. You can't tell me different." And he came back and was like, "Oh, that's great. Like I love that you can just roll with it. You're amazing." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. You're not so bad yourself." Even though he came across as a complete troll in the beginning, I was like, "Yes, I am." And I think too, that's the other thing is people just want to be seen and heard and feel like they matter, even if they don't agree with you, because we all don't agree. It's just the fact that you take time to acknowledge each other and just hear each other, I think matters more than we like to think about sometimes.
I feel the same way, and that's something I also appreciate about you because I look at your comment section sometimes because it's fascinating. But you do respond back to people, and you do have that gift of making them feel seen. And I think that's very important, especially in today's world where we're more and more isolated and alone. So
Yeah.
that's very important, and that is all of that is what makes you hot as F because it's not yet absolutely gorgeous. And when you're talking about getting a facelift, I'm thinking, what are they going to lift? But not, I mean, talking to
Listen,
you, none of
I
this
can
is,
show you.
well, let me show you some of mine.
Why
But
is it always this? I can't with the, but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
but what I wanted to say when this whole conversation, none of this has been rehearsed. Doing a lot of interviews, it is fascinating when you can just talk to somebody like this. I feel like I'm just sitting here with you on my couch and none of this is rehearsed and I haven't even looked at my notes as
Yeah.
to what I want to ask you. So it just shows you that everything you're doing is working because you are the whole package. You're incredibly intelligent, you're incredibly present, you're incredibly kind and uplifting and positive and you look amazing. So,
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I received that. Thank you.
well, it means a
And
lot to
likewise,
me.
Claudia, I think, and not to just tit and tat, but I really do like what you're doing is just so refreshing on your channel and how you do it and how you show up so selfless. Because I mean, I see your comments too. It's really interesting, and I feel like I admire. how you show up in many, many ways. I've watched your videos and intentionally noticed how you're so graceful always in all ways. And I think that's what attracts people to you is just this, it's a complete disarming. Like you're so real and approachable and true to yourself and honest and also like gorgeous and chic. And it's just a beautiful, I mean, it's right back at you. It's a total package. And I think that people feel safe with you. I think you make people feel safe and like you're a trusted friend. And yeah, it's amazing. So kudos right back at you, truly.
Thank you. That means a lot. And it means a lot that you took the time to have this conversation with us. Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to our next conversation.
Yes, to be continued.
Yes. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Thank you for having me.